This is lovely. We're back at La Salle Pacot. I was here with Joan for a week last year and further down in swim 12, which was really nice. We had some nice fish from there, and we've come back this year with the same people, and yeah, we had a little draw. I didn't really mind too much where I fished, but I did fancy this little one in the corner, because not for the fish we've seen. I've seen a couple of fish around the area. It's just such a lovely hidey hole swim under the great big willow tree. Nice grassy banks. Look at that lovely grassy swim. How often do you see that on lakes these days? Gonna put the blockhouse up under this massive great big willow. Enough room for the van in next to us, and somewhere out there some nice carp as always. Yeah, there is some beauties in there. Very weedy, and that's not as weedy as last year actually. Water's a little bit lower and the weed is down a little bit I think, but it was one of the things that actually attracted me to this lake. I love the weed fishing. You know, water's lovely and crystal clear. You get out on the boat and there we go, there's a fish out there now. Happy days. And yeah, you see the, once you're out in the boat, you see the clear areas. Good set of Polaroids on, or the scope, a viewing scope, and well, yeah, bait the likely looking spots and hope for the best. But I just love the idea of being in this lovely little weedy corner and pointing out in the lake, rather than the most fish swim along this bank is quite a gravelly one along there, and I didn't fancy that at all actually. I just fancied this grassy one just because of the way it looks, and I don't mind a corner swim. So here we are, got a week ahead of us in this lovely little bit of French paradise, and well, best I'll get the blockhouse up. Battery on charge, but I don't actually need it where I'm going. It's not very far, so I'm just gonna row out there and back. Put my life jacket on. Always leave it in the boat unless it's raining really hard. I'll leave it in the boat because, well, you know how it goes. You don't always remember to put it on, especially if you get a screaming run middle of the night or something and it gets snagged up. The first thing you think of is getting out for the fish. So if it's in the boat, then it's always there. Right, I've got a little mini X block out here to mark the spot, although it's not actually marking the spot. It's about 2 rod lengths behind the spot, and that's just so that, you know, if I get a screaming take, the fish doesn't get around the marker and tangle up, but at the same time I know roughly where my spot is, and then once I get to here, then yeah, it's just a matter of donking the lead about, because there's a lot of weed and soft stuff down there, but there's a little firm spot. There's about, yeah, a rod length away, 2 rod lengths away. Takes a little bit of finding. Yeah, see, that's just really soft there. You know, that's all weed down there, but I know that somewhere down here is a nice little clean spot. Ah, there we go. Is that it? One thing you have to watch when you're in an inflatable boat is how quick you drift. It's a little bit breezy today, and before you know it, you drift off spots. So always be conscious of that. And the trouble when you're looking for little tiny spots is that you drift off them before you realise. See there, I'm right close to my marker, and I know that's not the spot. Yeah, lovely, nice and firm there. And there we go, a little bit of a mixture. Monster shrimp pellets and boilies. A little bit of citrus in there as well. It's all good food. And what I tend to do for baiting up as well is that you can tell where your bait is by the line entering the water. If you try and keep it as vertical off the rod tip, obviously if your line's going off at an angle you're not right above it, but if you've got it vertical like that, then you know you're right above the hook bait, and so it's a lot easier to bait around. There we go, plenty of bait this time. Right, let's get back. First one, just into the second evening. Literally just got into bed and it's rattled off a lovely little linear. He's a nice one, isn't he? Yeah, there's a little channel between a big weed bed and the margin just over to my right, and yeah, it just looks nice there. It's a couple of clear spots. It's about 5 foot deep, and just in a channel between the weed and the bank. It just looked nice there, so dropped a little bait in there. Hey presto, off it's gone. Yeah, oh, it's nice to make a start. Let's say well, this is the second evening. It was a bit of a rush to get them out last night and the first night. It was a bit rainy and it was getting dark, but today sorted them out a little bit better and we got one. Right, put him back and get the rod back out there, but that's it, nice one. It's early morning, I don't know what time, about 5 o'clock now I suppose, and well, I had a scaly one sort of in the evening, and yeah, I've just had a really fat grey mirror. £31, and it was on a rod I moved yesterday. I'd got it out in the evening before. I'd seen some fish showing up to my left, up in the open water, and I'd found a big clear spot, and put a rod on it. But I wasn't really happy. It seemed further than where the fish was showing, so I dragged it back a little bit. And on the near side of the clear spot, I found a nice little hard bit of gravel. And so that's where I put it. And I said to Tony, the owner, I said, I feel really confident with that one. Really happy with that. Sure enough, that's the one that produced this. So, yeah, after a quiet first night, the action started. That's a nice one. Looks a little bit spawny, this one. I suppose they're probably not far off. A couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks maybe. There we go. So we'll get her back. She's done her bit. Yeah, lovely one. We're actually pretty well equipped for this. We normally just use cool boxes and look on in envy as people get cold beers out of fridges and things like that. Well, we got our own now. Yeah, I've got a perfect little spot there for charging the battery in the sunshine. It's actually quite warm in the sun. In the shade it's a little bit chilly in the breeze, but there it's like a little sun trap. So yeah, get the battery all charged up, ready to go. Yeah, obviously rigs have got to be up to the job for this type of fishing. It's thick weed out there, and yeah, it stands to reason when you hook one they're going to try and bury themselves in the weed. I always say, like, my rigs have got to be good enough to land the biggest fish in the lake should I be lucky enough to hook it. And I know they go up to 70 pound in here, so you imagine 70 pound fish buried in weed. I've dabbled with multi-rigs, but I actually prefer slip D rigs, and I'm using 25 pound stiff coated skin link. Rigs are probably about 10 inches long, and so 9 inches of it is stiff coated and the last inch is just supple. Hook wise, yeah, the long shank claws have been a revelation since I started using them. They've really been so good. And with the slip D I used to use the long shank twisters, and they were really good. But the long shank claws are even better, in fact much better. So they're my number one hook now. Normally 6, I'd be happy to use a 4 here, you know, because of the weedy situation. But what I really like about the long shank claws is they're sharp and they stay in. You know, like sometimes when you've got a fish weeded, you might have to go out in the boat or something like that, and there's that period of time where they're stuck in the weed where you're powerless to sort of, you're out of control of the fish, and you need the hook to stay in all that time, basically. You know, it's not, you see it loads of times where people will get a fish weeded, go out in the boat or whatever, lift it up with just a ball of weed and the fish is gone. You know, so you need a good hook hold, and yeah, the long shank claws do that. You know, I've had fish weeded here, and you know, and the lake of fish previous to this, it was actually the same, and you know, I've got them all out of the weed. They've all stayed on, even when they've been sort of buried for a little while before I've got to them. So there we go. Yeah, it's just a very simple sort of slip D setup with a snowman hook bait, monster shrimp, and I've varied between sort of 15mm both baits to like a 20mm bottom bait and 15mm pop-up, so fairly sort of substantial hook baits. It's a rig that we all know, but it's a rig that I'm so sort of happy with and comfortable with. Like I say, those claws are doing the business, they really are. So all in all, you know, it's just a setup that's working, and you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the old saying. There we go. I love to be able to watch carp, and it's one of the great joys in life for me. even if I'm not able to catch them at the time, it's nice to see them, and the best way is to get a high vantage point. There was plenty of carp out there all grouped together, as well as several grass carp, and yeah, the grass carp we don't catch much. In fact, that one that looks a little bit ghosty like has never been caught yet. But besides the grass carp, there were loads of carp there, all grouped up in one area mainly. Unfortunately, not in an area that was my water, so I couldn't fish for them at the time, but at the same time it was just lovely to see them cruising about, enjoying themselves above their safe haven of the weed beds. Well, it's afternoon now and not a bleep all night, and only a couple of little bleeps during the morning. I didn't think anything was going to happen, but all of a sudden it's gone off. It's locked solid in the weed there. I might have to go in the boat actually. Yeah, we'll have a boat battle for this one. We had quite a bit of rain actually last night, and I thought it was going to really turn them on, but it hadn't. But then in the last hour, Darren's had his first one over there, which is really good. He's had a nice mirror, and now this take, which I'm hoping I can get out of the weed, because it's down there in the weed. But got the leader on, so it's not far away. Normally once you're above the fish, it's a lot easier to get them out of the weed. Here it comes. There it is. Oh, nice scaly one. Oh, I love being out in the water and playing fish in the boat. It's such a nice way of doing it. And I know they have big fish where it's down the weed, they do tend to dive down a lot in the weed. You can get them back out. There it is. Wonder if I can. No, I thought I might be able to net it before it realised what was going on, but can I get it? There we go, we got it. Sneaked up on it. Oh, it's nice, isn't it? Lovely that is. Don't know if you can see that. Nice scaly one. Lovely, that'd do, wouldn't it? Yeah, then it's just a case of facing the fish forwards and going slowly back to the bank with it. Oh, that was nice, that was exciting. I love playing fish from boats. And of course, coming in, be careful of where your other lines are. I've actually come in sort of between two lines here, so you just have to be a bit careful of where you're going. But there we go, we're all right. Well, that was fun, wasn't it, out in the boat? I do love a boat battle. And yeah, it's nice getting them in from the bank when you can, but it's also nice being out in the boat. You know, I mean, he did get stuck down in solid weed, and you know, it's the best way of getting them to get above them. You've got leverage then to pull them out. And there we go. That was the result. A nice mid upper 20 scaly one. There's quite a few. There is quite a few of these scaly ones in here that have been stocked over the years, and yeah, they vary in sizes. I mean, I had one the other day that was maybe just touching £20, I suppose. This one a fair bit bigger, but they're all lovely, aren't they? All lovely and scaly. The spots I'm fishing to are pretty small. There's a lot of weed out there, obviously, and what I'm looking for is the small gravelly spots in amongst it. There's other clear spots that are a little bit bigger, sort of soft and silty, and they're all right, they're clear spots, but the most productive spots seem to be the hard little gravelly areas. So when I do find one, I'm marking it with an X block. Need to mark it somehow to know where it is. There was basically what I felt was a design fault with the old H blocks, in the fact that the H caused a lot of tangles when you used to throw them over the side. I mean, all of us who've used H blocks over the years will have lost them. I've also found a few over the years as well, but you tend to lose them because the line tangles where the gap was too narrow. And when Nash came to me and said, you know, we're thinking about doing markers, can you think of any sort of improvements on the old H blocks? And I was like, yeah, straight away. H is a bad design for the shape of the marker. You know, an X shape would be so much better, and so it's proved to be. It's a much better shape. You know, it does the same basic job, but you don't lose them. That's the main thing, so they're great. Yeah, so what I'm doing, I'm not dropping it straight on the spot. I'm dropping it about 10 yards behind the spot, so it's like a gauge. I know the direction. If I go from the bank towards my marker, I know that sort of 10 yards short, donk about a bit, find the hard spot that I'm looking for. You know, it's simple enough, but when I get a run, chances are it's not going to wrap around the marker, you know, which is the reason for putting it a little bit off the spot. You know, no chance of it spooking the fish and no chance of it tangling up. So yeah, and they're just an ideal way of doing it. They're quick and easy to drop over the side, and yeah, they do the job. They mark the spot. So there we go, the X block. Oh, it's a lovely way to start the day, isn't it? Nice 40-pound common. Been getting loads of bleeps through the night, and kept waking me up, but nothing was happening. And then, yeah, just on first light, off it's hammered, and it was the right end of the 3 rods out there that, yeah, I'd spent quite a bit of time yesterday finding a spot. I couldn't find my little gravel spot out there, but it was worth persevering. You know, I took my time and eventually found it. And yeah, all worthwhile, because this was the result. Yeah, very happy with that. Been putting a little bit more bait out, and that was the key, I think. Lots of shrimp and a bit of pellet, and they got on it. That's what they wanted. Yeah, brilliant result. Very happy with that. Lovely. At last. Well, it's last afternoon, Friday afternoon, and this weed bed in front of me has become my centre of attention. As we was watching fish out in the middle of the lake yesterday, and today they've moved into that weed bed, a lot of them anyway. I've been seeing a few, so I've got like a 3-pronged attack. I've got a bait in front of it, and a bait to the left, and a bait to the right. And well, the first fish I had was on the right hand rod, sort of on the little channel between the weed and bed and the trees on the right of the picture as you look at it. And I had a liner on that rod. It was, I'm sure it was a liner, but I went to replace the bait, and 2 commons swam in front of me. And then just as I was about to drop the rig, a big mirror come in, definitely 50 plus, and just sort of turned round. I thought, oh. So I threw a few baits in there, and the mirror literally came in and went straight down on the baits. I was waiting for my line to tighten up. I thought I was going to hook one from the boat just as I was dropping the bait, but then it came up and turned around and went off. But it just shows there's a good chance, maybe the best chance of a good fish that I've had all week. And because actually on the left, as I was dropping one to the left of the weed bed, as I come back, I looked around, and there was a big common on that left-hand side of the weed bed, just making its way through. So there's some good fish out there, and well, I've got baits in positions all around it now, so they're sort of hemmed in. Yeah, just got to hope that one of those, hopefully one of those good ones, goes down and picks it up. Exciting though, exciting last afternoon. You know, it was quiet last night, not a bleep last night and this morning, same for everyone else. Darren down the other end said, all my bait was still there this morning, and when I looked, yeah, I'm not surprised, because all the fish were in like one big group, and that group has sort of gradually moved my way. So, well, I can't do much more. I've just got to sit on my hands now and wait for one of them to hopefully make a mistake. Well, it had to go off sooner or later. It's taken a while. It's been out there a few hours, this one. I think it's a big one. I've seen some big ones down there. Mind you, I've seen some small ones as well, so. Oh, it's been a really hot day today. It's just starting to cool down a little bit now. And yeah, it's one of the smaller ones I've seen in there today, but they've been up this end today. Oh, typical, isn't it? He was in there. Now he's decided to wake up. Here we go. Oop. There we go. A nice mid-20 chunky mirror. And well, they've been out there today. I thought he was smaller than this actually. It's looked like a mid-double coming in, but he's ended up being a little bit bigger, so not as big as some of the fish that are out there. There are some good ones out there today. Big mirror and a big common I saw. But well, that'll do. It's been really hot today, and it's just starting to cool down, which is probably the reason we got this one. Yeah, it'll be another chance, I think. But you never know, it might be the last one. We'll see. It's last evening, going into the last evening. Night times have been a bit better, and there's fish around. There is fish around, so we'll see. But here we go. We got this one anyway. And there we go, that's another one done. There was no more action during the night. I really was expecting another run or two in the night, because they were out there, but it was all quiet. So there we go, all packed up and well, not ready for home, because we're heading south now, down to see Jim and Sharon's adventure calling. But we've loved it here, we really have. It's been a fantastic week. It's flown by, it really has. But it's been good. Tony and Julie are like fantastic people, they really are. And it's been a pleasure seeing them again and fishing their lake. But unfortunately our time has come to an end. There we go. Well, I suppose it's been a toughish week. By these lake standards. Terry did save the week though. Terry over there did have a 57-pound common last night, so he stuck it out and yeah, sat on his hands all week and just waited patiently and got rewarded, so fair play to Terry. But yeah, we all had a few fish between us and it was good fun, so there we go. Time to head on and hit the road. So yeah, see you next time.